Well, just by having those few friends introduce me to people. And you know what was interesting about it was that the third guy in the middle of this friendship was a lesser known guy who wrote comedy for everyone from Letterman to Gabe Kaplan to Jay Leno. I mean, again, maybe 100 guys. And we got into a conversation like we did every night. And I said, you know, I'm living with my sister. I just got out here. He says, you want to be roommates? And I said, oh, wow, that would be fun, because he knew everybody. And we moved in together. And he became like a mentor and a coach to me. And he's someone right now who's Jerry Seinfeld's best buddy, the guy he hangs around with, on a regular basis. And they did a movie together. His name is Barry Martyr, and he's otherwise known as Nancy, something Nancy. Gosh, I should know his name. But he wrote books about writing crazy stories to corporations. And Jerry and Barry Martyr, they did a movie about it, Letters from a Nut. It got very popular. And so, you know, they're great friends. But when we moved in, amazing thing happened. The comedy clubs were opening all over the country because Evening at the Improv was airing on stations in every city. And they were literally, they couldn't open up a comedy club fast enough. And my roommate said to me, you know, you're in a perfect place at the right time, at the right place. The ICM and William Morris, those big agencies, they don't want to spend time getting someone a $2,000 or $3,000 gig. And the comedians don't want to get on the phone and call themselves. They just don't like doing that. He says, why don't you do it? You know them all. This was like months and months later. You know them all. They like you. They trust you. You're a decent guy. They know that. Why don't you ask them if you could make calls for them? So I didn't want to do that at first, because I went out there to be a personal manager. Here's what happened. I was sitting in Boston watching television, and 60 Minutes came on. And they did this expose about Jay Bernstein, the personal manager to the stars. And I was like, oh my God. Farrah Fawcett and this one and that one. Oh, getting out of limousines and on the red carpet. My mind was like saying, boy, would I like to do that. So when I went out there, I wanted to be a personal manager. But my roommate said, why don't you be an agent for them? I said, you know, I don't want to be an agent because everybody hates their agent. The agent can never do enough for their clients, right? So I don't want to be an agent. Everybody hates the agent. I was too worried about wanting to be liked. He said, really, you should do it. And then he started saying, do it, because you'll be able to make the comedians money. You'll make you money. You'll become more important to the comedians rather than just a friend who they can leave or not leave. Right. Do it. And so, you know what? I got on the phone. No, first I spoke to the comedians. And because there was so many of them there every night, within a few weeks or a few months' time, I was representing 35 stand-up comedians.
But you didn't know anything about being an agent, though?
Well, I was always a marketing person, and my roommate coached me to do whatever I needed to do differently. Right. So, I mean, I represented Howie Mandel, the unknown comic, Paul Reiser, Paula Poundstone, Bobby Slayton, a lot
of names,
a lot of guys.
Yeah,
and now, I didn't get them gigs around L.A. because they could do that themselves. They all know I was getting them gigs all around the country.
When you got started, though, you're like, how do I do this? Would you just pick up the phone and that was it? You're like, I guess I'm just going to learn by picking up the phone and hearing what these people want to hear.
Exactly. You know, my way of doing things would be to call the smaller clubs first, the ones in the smaller cities, and learn at that point what to say, what not to say. And I could work with the lesser known comedians. Like I wouldn't bring up Howie Mandel or the unknown comic. I'd bring up the names of some other guys that were excellent, very talented, but it was less of a threat of me screwing up.